Salutations at... Oh wait, that's Jousis' thing. What's crackin', home slices? Welcome to Legacy Graveyard, where I show off busted builds that are about to get nerfed. And today, we're looking at the infinite stacking Boneshatter build. Boneshatter is an attack skill that gives us a stack of trauma if it hits, then makes us take physical damage for each trauma stack we have, and also increases our total damage per trauma. So what if we stacked trauma stacks to the moon? Well, that's what this build does. Our first problem is that we will be dealing so much physical damage to ourselves that no amount of armor will save us. We solve this with Shroud of the Lightless, which grants immunity to physical damage for 3 seconds on a 45-second cooldown. Now we have another problem. How do we turn that 3 seconds into 45 seconds for permanent uptime on Shade Form? We get it halfway there with Skill Effect Duration. Support gems work on skills granted by items, so we can put increased duration support and efficacy support directly in our chest piece to double the duration of Shade Form from 3 seconds to 6 seconds. We can get a bunch of skill effect duration from the middle of the passive tree. A very large Thread of Hope here conveniently covers all these duration nodes as well as an attack speed node that we will also want. With all this skill effect duration, plus a Malevolence aura which I will mention later, we get the duration of Shade Form to around 12 seconds. So how do we get above the 45-second cooldown? Temporal Chains is a curse that reduces action speed, but also makes buffs and debuffs expire more slowly. We're going to self-curse Temporal Chains using Rotblood Promise, and spend the rest of our build increasing our curse effect. We're getting about 100% increased curse effect from some legacy medium clusters, each with Deidre's Apathy. Supreme Ego multiplies our Temp Chains effect because it's being cast as an aura through Rotblood Promise. We get a huge chunk of curse effect from the Coward's Triumph Belt. The vulnerability downside doesn't matter, because we're immune to physical damage. Caster Catalysts add an extra 10% curse effect to the belt. I'm using a crappy Redeemer Shield and a Jinx Juju for the remaining curse effect. Our Shade Form ends up lasting about 49 seconds. We have to negate the reduced action speed aspect of Temporal Chains by being a Juggernaut and taking the Unstoppable Ascendancy node. This introduces another problem. With so many required uniques and passive points, our life pool and resists are quite low. We're going to use March of the Legion to effectively gain 4 extra auras. 3 of these auras will be the Purities. The last one will be Malevolence for another 30% skill effect duration. We can grab some extra max resistance from the tree for a grand total of 87 resist all. Now that we have permanent physical immunity and really high resists, there is one more addition we can make to put this build over the top. Mantra of Flames grants bonus fire damage for each buff on us. Each stack of trauma counts as a separate buff. Trauma also multiplies Mantra of Flames damage. Here's the equation for how much damage you will do. You rearrange it and can see that all of our damage becomes exponential with respect to how many trauma stacks we have. Now we need to make Boneshatter stacks last a really long time so we can have more of them. Luckily we have a bunch of skill effect duration already coming from our tree. Because our weapon damage is a paltry amount compared to what Mantra of Flames will give us, we don't need any gem links to multiply our damage. We can take advantage of the increased duration we already have in our armor and add on a faster attack support. More attack speed, more trauma stacks. At a few hundred stacks of trauma, we deal so much damage to ourself that gets prevented that taking the Unbreakable passive grants us over 50,000 life regen per second. That's 20 times our maximum life every second. As long as we don't get one-shotted, we are immune to basically everything in the game. This build does have a pain point. For some reason, Shade Form goes on cooldown when you change instances, so you just have to wait 40 seconds before setting up buffs and triggering Shade Form. Enjoy watching this build's actual clear speed.